Coming up on 5 Minute News. DeSantis extends anti-LGBTQ bills. Yemen capital stampede kills at least 78. And US Patriot-guided missiles arrive in Ukraine. It's Thursday, April 20. I'm Anthony Davis. The far-right Republican governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, added more wins to his agenda targeting the LGBTQ+ community as a state board approved an expansion of what critics call the Don't Say Gay law on Wednesday, and the House passed bills on gender transition treatments, bathroom use, and keeping children away from drag shows. The Board of Education approved a ban on classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in all grades, expanding the law that bans those lessons up to grade 3 at the request of DeSantis as he gears up for an expected presidential run. The DeSantis administration put forward the proposal last month as part of the Republicans' aggressive far-right agenda, with the governor leaning heavily into cultural divides ahead of his looming White House candidacy. He previously directed questions to Education Commissioner Manny Diaz Jr., who said it was meant to clarify confusion around the existing law and reinforce that teachers should not deviate from existing curriculums. The prohibition has drawn intense backlash from critics who argue it marginalizes LGBTQ+ people and has vague terms that result in self-censorship from teachers. President Joe Biden has called it hateful. It's not the only issue to upset LGBTQ people in Florida. Also yesterday, the House passed a bill to make it a felony to provide gender-affirming health care to transgender minors, another DeSantis priority. Democrats argued that ignoring gender dysphoria in children can be psychologically harmful. They said parents and doctors should make decisions on treatment, not government. The House sent DeSantis another bill that bans children from an adult live performance, a proposal aimed at the governor's opposition to drag shows. The House also passed a bill that will ban people from entering bathrooms other than their sex assigned at birth. It requires bathrooms in public places to be listed as men, women, or unisex. DeSantis has made culture wars a priority as he gears up to run for the White House. Former President Donald Trump and other Republican presidential hopefuls have been increasingly attacking DeSantis' leadership, including an ongoing feud with Disney, one of the state's largest employers and political donors. A large crowd, apparently spooked by gunfire and an electrical explosion, stampeded at an event to distribute financial aid during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan in Yemen's capital last night, killing at least 78 people and injuring at least 73 others, according to witnesses and Houthi rebel officials. The tragedy was the deadliest in years that was not related to Yemen's long conflict and came ahead of the Muslim holiday of Eid, which marks the end of Ramadan later this week. Armed Houthis fired into the air in an attempt at crowd control, apparently striking an electrical wire and causing it to explode, according to 2 witnesses. That sparked a panic, and people, including many women and children, began stampeding. Video posted on social media showed dozens of bodies, some motionless, and others screaming as people tried to help. Separate footage of the aftermath released by Houthi officials showed bloodstains, shoes, and victims' clothing scattered on the ground. Investigators were seen examining the area. The crush took place in the Old City at the center of Sana'a, where hundreds of poor people had gathered for a charity event organized by merchants, according to the Houthi-run Interior Ministry. Distributing financial aid is a ritual during Ramadan when the faithful fast from dawn to dusk. People had gathered to receive about $10 each from a charity funded by local businessmen. Wealthy people often hand out cash and food, especially to the poor during Ramadan. The rebels quickly sealed off a school where the event was being held and barred people, including journalists, from approaching. The Interior Ministry said it had detained 2 organizers and an investigation was underway. American-made Patriot missiles have arrived in Ukraine, the country's defense minister said yesterday, providing Kiev with a long-sought new shield against the Russian airstrikes that have devastated cities and civilian infrastructure. The US agreed in October to send the surface-to-air systems, which can target aircraft, cruise missiles, and shorter-range ballistic missiles, such as those that Russia has used to bombard residential areas and the Ukrainian power grid. The missiles are the latest contribution from Western allies, who have also pledged tanks, artillery, and some types of fighter jets as Ukraine gears up for an expected counter-offensive. A Ukrainian Air Force spokesman said that delivery of the systems would be a landmark event, allowing Ukrainians to knock out Russian targets at a greater distance. Germany's federal government website on Tuesday listed a Patriot system as among the military items delivered within the past week to Ukraine. Ukraine first asked for Patriot systems in August 2021, 5 months before Russia's full-scale invasion and 7 years after Russia illegally annexed Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula. You can subscribe to the 5-Minute News Patreon for bonus videos, commentary, and more. Go to patreon.com/5minutenews.